Step into the world of decay, abandonment, and chaos. The story of an urban explorer starts here, at the beginning. Welcome to the podcast you've been looking for all along. This is No Tracers. Here, we take only photos. We leave only footprints. And remember, leave no trace. Welcome back to the No Tracers podcast. What's up, everybody? My name is Kay, just the letter K, and I am known as No Tracers. Welcome to the podcast. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. If you've been listening for, one episode or 75 episodes, well, thank you for supporting the show. I really do appreciate it. You guys are the reason the show is continuing. And hey, we're about to hit 20,000 plays. So thank you guys so much for your continued support, for sharing the podcast, and for being a part of this journey that I'm on. If you want to come on the No Tracers podcast to share your stories of urban exploration, hit me up at no.tracers on Instagram or No Tracers on TikTok. You can also check this podcast out along with my urban exploration videos on the No Tracers Urbex YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com/NoTracersUrbex. And you can check out my visuals over there. If you guys want to read the blog, notracers.com. If you guys want to get some merchandise, and by merchandise I mean t-shirts, a duffel bag, or a copy of my photography book, No Tracers, an Urban Explorer's Diary, hit up justtheletterk.com/notracers. Thank you guys for listening. This week on the podcast, I'm speaking with Chicago Jenn. But before we jump into it, I need to thank our partner on the podcast, Liquid Death Mountain Water. I've been partnered with them for over a year, since I started this podcast, actually. Super excited to be working with them. They're actually hooking my band up, my band Matriarchs. We are going on tour in April. I'll put our tour dates down below if you guys are in the Florida area, Texas, Indianapolis, Ohio, Michigan. We're going to be coming through those areas. So if you guys want to come to a show and watch me scream my vocal cords out, come check out Matriarchs. We'll be on tour with a band called To Us Below and War. So if you guys want to come to a show, I'll put the tour dates down below for you. All right. If you guys want to know more about Liquid Death and get 10% off your order at liquiddeath.com, use code justtheletterk. I've actually made an advertisement for you. Here it is in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to a new kind of experience that is not for the faint of heart. A new kind of water, straight from the Austrian Alps, packaged in beautifully rugged aluminum cans. So if you want to stand out, if you want to murder your thirst and give back to the planet, give Liquid Death a try. The only thing that stands between you and the Reaper is a can of Liquid Death. Not for the faint of heart. All right, without further ado, Chicago Jenn, please introduce yourself and how long you've been exploring to the No Tracers audience, and tell us how you got into exploring.
Hi, I'm Chicago Jenn from Chicago, obviously. I started exploring maybe 2016, at the end of 2016. Basically, I had just bought a camera and I wanted something to do, so I got on Instagram, started looking around at different pictures and stuff, and started seeing a lot of abandonment. And I saw this one church in particular that I really wanted to go see, and it was in Chicago. I found out where it was at. Did you want me to go into that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, for sure. So yeah, take me into that first exploration of that church. Like what did you do? How did you get in? And also, how did you get the location? Because a lot of people that are starting out as urban explorers have no idea how to do this kind of stuff. Did you ask somebody? Did you do it yourself? Did you get on Google? Where did you find the location for it?
Okay, yeah. Basically, I got on Google, started looking. I found out that it was a synagogue, actually, not just a Catholic church or something like that. So I just started looking up keywords about synagogues, Chicago, stuff like that. And I eventually found it just that way. Me and my girlfriend went to go check it out, and I had never done anything like that before. The whole church is like was like just I've had this huge black fence around it, and it looks so big to me. I'm not like a big climber or anything like that, but we were just sitting there, kind of like just like looking around. Didn't really want to get in trouble trying to climb this fence or anything. And then like four other kids, like young kids, they came up to us in the alley. We saw them at the end of the alley, kind of, and they just walked up to us and they were like, "Are you guys trying to get in here?" And we were like, "Yeah, kind of." So they like hoisted the the like skinniest girl up to like the fire escape. She went up there, I guess, got in somehow through a window or something and went and opened up a door in the front. And basically everybody, except for me, because I was so chicken to climb the fence, everyone, even my girlfriend that doesn't even climb at all, climbed the fence. Everybody went in, they went exploring or whatever. My girlfriend called me on the phone. She was like, "You have to get in here. This is the coolest thing ever." And I was like, just still outside, so scared. I don't know why I was so scared. And finally she came out. I was like, "No, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it." She finally came out and she's showing me like all the pictures and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, great." We walked to the end of the alley to leave. And I was like, "You know what? Fuck it. I have to do it because if I don't, I'm going to regret it." So I went back, climbed over the fence, got in, and it was just like the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. I was just enthralled with everything that was in there, the stained glass. I mean, it's a pretty big synagogue. If around 2016, if you explored in Chicago, everybody knows which synagogue it is. Now it's condos or apartments or something now, but at the time it was just like the best thing I've ever seen in my life, ever.
Wow.
And I really didn't know
Oh,
anything about taking pictures, but I tried. My pictures aren't that great, but it's just a really good memory to have.
yeah. And the fact that you like conquered a fear that day as well, like I think that speaks
Yeah,
volumes, especially for
yeah,
like a new urban explorer. Like there's always that first step you have to take into the place where you're like, I don't know if I should do it. Like you're crossing
right,
a threshold into a world that is like very taboo and
right.
something that is, trespassing, we could dive into trespassing and the legality of the hobby we love. But aside from that, what kind of camera did you use when you first started out doing this?
When I first started, I had a Nikon. It was I think it was a D5100. It was just
Okay.
a starter camera. I bought it off someone
Mhm.
used, and just from there, I was like trying different things, trying to see what worked. I basically everything that I know, I taught myself, or on YouTube or whatever, watching videos. But now I shoot with a Sony A7 II,
Sick.
which is a whole different dimension from that starter camera. But sometimes I'll take pictures with my phone. It's just what I have. But I always carry my camera.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I'm a photographer and videographer by trade, so that's what I do full time freelance. But I always have a camera on me no matter where I'm going, even if it's not for the purpose of taking pictures. I always have it with me, so I
Yeah,
totally understand that. Like, you never know when something's gonna come up, or
right.
somebody's gonna need something, or you might stumble across something abandoned. And I mean, I was coming back from a gig the other day that was like an hour away from me, and we can talk about this. Have you ever like gone past an abandoned place and not gone into it and then been like, shit, like I should have gone into that, like why and you just like regret it? Because for me, the other day I was driving home and drove past an abandoned Marathon gas station, and
Uh-huh.
it looked like the actual building had been like imploded, and the outside where like the gas pumps used to be was perfectly pristine, and I so regret not stopping and taking photos.
I do that all the time. Like we'll pass stuff, especially if we're like on a road trip or something. We'll
Yeah.
pass houses or something, and I'll pin it, and I won't put like I'll just put like possible house or something. And
uh,
so like I totally forget about all these pins that I have. When I go back later, I'm like see all these like possible house, possible this, possible that, and I'm like, what is this? I leave no like clue what it
yeah.
could have been or where. It's horrible. I have all these just extra pins just sitting there. And then they're like so far, I don't want to drive just to look at this one thing
Yeah.
for it to possibly be something.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's totally. I completely agree. And fortunately for me, this abandoned gas station that I passed, like, I will be able to go back to it because I frequently go out to this place where I film robots for a robotics company, and
Uh-huh.
I know that I'll pass it again, but it was like on like a side street, you know. So and I didn't pin it like an idiot because I was not focused on like I was like trying
Yeah.
to not get hit by another car or whatever. But like yeah, I hope I see it again because it was so cool just to like pass an old gas station like that. And I don't know what it is about gas stations that fascinates me, you know. And I mean that and like churches and asylums are like my favorite. Do you have like a preferred thing you like to explore?
I really like churches and funeral homes, and I've been getting into like power plants. I haven't
Ooh,
explored that many, maybe like three, but the pictures from these power plants that I see are just crazy, and I want to go to all of them, but they're usually like heavy security stuff like
yeah.
that. But I mean, I'll do it. It's just I'm not like one to just run up on a place and not know anything about it. I like to like research stuff and then do it. And usually, a lot of times, I research so much it's like too late or something. A lot of times,
Right. Yeah, no, I totally got you. And the other thing about it is like doing research beforehand, trying to find places like oftentimes I'll do research on something for like a week, 2 weeks, whatever, and then I'll go there and it's gone. You know,
right,
the place is not
right,
there anymore and you like missed that window or the blog or forum or whatever, like Atlas Obscura, whatever website
yeah,
you're on. Oftentimes like it's been demolished and the blog post was written like years ago. So I feel like
yeah.
we often run into that problem. For you, how did you come up with your username on Instagram? I know this is, a normal thing for us to like come up with Instagram names, but what made you go with Chicago Jen?
Because I love Chicago. I love the city. I grew up in Indiana, but I was born here, and I moved back when I was in my 20s, younger 20s, and just I love everything about the city. So that's why I just said Chicago Jen. And
Love
it
it.
really stuck with me. A lot of people say they like the name because I was going to change it like maybe a year after I started exploring, and everyone was like, no, just keep it, keep it. So it stuck, and I like it.
Yeah, I dig it. Can you talk about gear that you bring to these places? And this could be the kind of shoes you wear, maybe a backpack, a light, anything that you could recommend for new explorers that are just getting into the hobby.
Well, I travel with a lot of stuff. I mean, I have a heavy tripod. I'm not really sure of the name, but it's. I've seen a lot of people have it. It's got like an orange little top. I've seen a lot of people have it. I don't remember the name. I have a low pro backpack, and then I carry a light. And the light, I'm not really sure what the name of it is either. But I got it. Someone actually bought it for me off of Amazon. It was $20, and this light is so bright. It like shines the dark. Like I just went into a really like pitch black theater like a couple months ago, and this light really did really good for $20. It's a steal. So I mean, I could show it. I mean, people if they've seen it, they've seen it on my story a lot because I've recommended it.
Dope.
But
Yeah.
other than that, I usually wear Vans, stuff like that. I have my Doc Martens, but I'm stupid. I usually just wear my Vans. I'm careful.
Sure.
It's
Yeah,
comfortable.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. People are like, wear like steel toed boots or whatever. And I'm like, yo, that's so heavy on my feet. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not about to like stomp around in these heavy ass boots. Like, what if I need to run somewhere? Like, that's not going
I
to work for
stepped
me.
on a nail once
Yeah.
and it went through my shoe, but ever since then I'm like extra careful.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I'm good
I
with
had
my
that happen.
Vans.
Got you. Have you had, speaking of like stepping on nails, do you have any urban exploration injury stories you could share?
Not like really bad injuries, but I remember like maybe a year into exploring, we were going to check out this church and we found out the church was actually active. So we were just driving around that neighborhood. We saw this building and all the windows were all boarded up and everything. So we're like, oh, cool, let's go check this out. It's got to be abandoned. We looked it up and everything, looked up the phone number was off. So it was like, definitely it's got to be abandoned. We were checking it out, trying to find a way in, saw a basement window that was so little. I don't even know how I squeezed into it, but I squeezed into it somehow. And I was like holding on to the outside of the window, the frame. I must have grabbed the wrong area, like a metal or something, and the metal was like already worn out. So it broke. I fell back like maybe like 10 feet probably down. But I landed like between these two huge incinerators, like right perfectly in the middle, like slammed my head down. I probably was out for a couple seconds, but Like I finally opened up my eyes and I could see my friend in the window. He was just like, "Holy shit, are you okay? Are you okay?" And then I go, like, I'm like just sitting there for a minute, catching my bearings. I get back up and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go upstairs and figure out if we can get in at least. And get upstairs and the whole door it's locked, completely boarded up and everything. So it was no go. I didn't even know how I was going to get back out. Finally, my friend pretty much had to drag me back through the window. I found some chair or something to climb on. He pretty much dragged me through the window. But the next week, we went back to go see this place again, and the doors open and people are going inside. I was like, oh my God, this
What?
place wasn't even abandoned.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. It's like this
Oh my God.
craziness.
I've been hearing more and more stories like this about, going into an abandoned place and then finding out it's not actually abandoned. Like,
Yeah.
I just had a couple on the show. I just interviewed them, so that episode will come out later. But they went into a house and they went back like the next morning or the night, like later that evening or something, and there were lights on at the house. Like somebody was living in the house, and they were like, "We totally like could have gotten caught in this house." Like that's. I feel like these stories are becoming more and more common just because like more people are exploring now, like the community
Yeah.
is growing so big that like there's so many things that are like partially abandoned or being renovated or whatever. And they all
Yeah.
look very similar.
That's especially with houses, you never
Yeah.
know. We drove down to New Orleans last April and we went through like Mississippi and Tennessee. We went through all these states and we would see these houses that were like completely boarded up. And then we'd see people in the back like grilling and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. I was like, that scares me about going into houses because you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really go into houses. I've been in like one or two houses, honestly, like over the several years I've been doing this. And one of them was like a trashed hoarder's house. Like there was just so much stuff in the house. And I was like, this
Yeah.
is gross. Like it was gross. So I like don't like houses very much. But I mean, like a mansion, I'll go into a mansion. My
Yeah.
friend abandoned Nashville and Big Banks just hit this like $27 million mansion in Florida today on like Instagram Live. And they were walking around it showing like the beachfront property and like this whole thing, and I was like, okay, I could do a mansion, like that's pretty cool.
They get into some nice mansions.
They
Really.
definitely do. Yeah, Ben in Nashville and Big Banks, I actually met them both at the same time and we all went exploring together and here in Nashville, and it was amazing. We hit this school and it had been like destroyed by a tornado, so the roof was taken off and some of
Wow.
the classrooms were fucked up. But I mean, it was super cool to see, and I printed some of the photos from that and they're actually hanging in my house. And I think it's super important to like print your photography. I feel like that's like a lost art that people don't do enough of. But going back to your story, can you bring me into your scariest exploration?
The scariest, as in like paranormal or like almost
Yeah,
getting
we could go.
caught.
We could go paranormal. We could go both. Honestly, like paranormal stuff, getting caught, running into people, anything like that.
Um, well, there's one story that I remember. It was last year. We were in Detroit, and me and a couple people, we were exploring out there, and I was like, oh, I have the strip club, but I don't really know a whole lot about it. I know it's closed or whatever. I mean, I don't know about alarms. I don't know anybody that's really hit it or anything yet. They're like, well, let's just go check it out. We went to go check it out. Ended up the back door was open, so we went in. But as soon as we stepped into the hallway, an alarm went off. So we
Hmm.
went back out. We waited outside for a little bit, just to see if cops came or anything. No one came for like an hour, so we went back in, and I should have known when we went back in the alarm was off. Didn't really think about it. We were just so excited to be inside. We're like, let's hurry up and shoot and get out. So we're just shooting whatever. And at the time, my girlfriend, she didn't want to come in. She didn't want to have anything to do with the alarm or anything like that. So she was just like waiting outside, kind of like being our lookout. And she calls me and she's like, somebody just pulled into the parking lot and he's getting out of his car. And I was like, oh shit, is it like a cop or is it just like some like owner? And she's like, I think it's an owner. I was like, okay. So like we're trying to hurry up, put all our shit together, stuff it in our bag, running towards the back door. She's like on the phone with me. She's like, she's going up to the front door right now with his keys. So we're like at the back door because the back and front door are both on the side, and so if we would have ran out the door, he would have saw us. So we're waiting right by the back door, just waiting for him. She's like, he's putting his key in now, and like you could hear him putting the key in. As soon as he
Oh.
opened it, we like ran out the back door and just zoomed out. I was so scared because I had no idea what was gonna happen. I'm like yelling at her, come pick us up in the alley. She has no idea what alley we're in. It's like, we're right here. She's like, it's a one way. I'm like, oh my God, just pick us up, please. But that was like the closest I think that we came to getting caught.
Oh my God, that's always like a scary feeling. And the fact that you like described that you could hear him put the key in the door, like
Yeah.
that's crazy. Oh my
Yeah.
God. And like something about like abandoned strip clubs still having alarms. Like I had a similar experience in Denver in a strip club. My friend actually found where the lights were. And so he hit the breaker, which activated the alarm, obviously, because
Yeah.
power. And so the alarm goes off and we're like, well, shit, now we got to go. But it was cool to see this place and like experience like, I've only been to like one strip club and I was actually doing photography at it and it was like a really nice strip club, and then to go to this abandoned strip club was like just the complete opposite. So it was like a super crazy experience. But yeah, something about those places is very, very interesting. And what about your riskiest exploration story or your most dangerous one?
Oh, most dangerous. I don't know if I have like, I mean, I'm sure I do. I mean, there's been a lot of ones, like I can think of another funeral home that we went to that it was closed, and someone ended up buying it within like a couple days that we had been like checking the place out, like driving around it. So someone bought it, and he was out. There was a guy out when we pulled up. There was a guy sitting in the parking lot. We just assumed he was sitting there because he looked like, to me, he looked like some guy that was like trying to like smoke weed or something in the parking lot. So we didn't really think anything too much about him. We were like waiting for him to leave. He finally left, and we go into this funeral home, and it's like just completely. So it was, everything was like looked like it was just about to be open or whatever. Like someone had just walked out of the place. Everything was just left
Mm.
there. It was a cool place. But again, my girlfriend was waiting outside for us, and she calls and she's like, there's like two guys that just pulled up again. And she's like screaming at us to get out. And we're all the way like down in the basement or whatever. So we like run out, run, and this, it's like right on the corner. So you can obviously see that we ran out of the building. We come back around to get in the car, and the same guy that was smoking weed, I guess, or whatever, we thought he was smoking weed, he was with them, and they had just bought the place. So she's like trying to go up to him to like stall them to before they go in, trying to see if we could go in and take pictures. And they were they knew we were in there, but it ended up the place was active. I guess again another place that was active. So stupid that we didn't like. Those were just dumb mistakes. I mean, I don't really have like dangerous things like with dogs or anything, or like
Sure.
security. I'm usually pretty careful about stuff like that. Only thing is, when you do stuff like that, you really have to research places, especially like funeral homes, because those, they turn over so fast. And
Yeah,
unless it's been empty for a long time, you never know who bought the place. It's
definitely.
like the riskiest stuff that I think we've done.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of have a similar experience with this kind of stuff. Like I haven't experienced any dogs or anything like that. I've had people on the show that have been chased by dogs, mind you. Like those stories are out there for sure. And people that are listening to this, if you want to listen to those, like just dive back into the other episodes. But what do you do when you're not exploring abandoned places?
Um, I have a family. I have two daughters, teenage daughters. I do a lot of stuff with my kids. I love cats, so we foster cats. We don't have any right now, but we usually foster kittens. I've actually found like baby newborn kittens in bandos like twice, and I brought them home and tried to like
Oh,
take care of them, but like they're so young that they're like, they usually, the mom has just left them, so they're already
sure.
sick and they die. But
Yeah.
mostly stuff like that. My two kids, I do a lot of stuff with them.
That's
They have a
awesome. I
lot of
love that.
activities. I'm trying to.
What do they think about your exploring?
The oldest one, she doesn't really like it. She thinks like I remember when I first started. I was walking around this hospital with them, and she was like, "Oh, it just smells like mold. It smells so bad, Mom. Why do you even want to do that?" I'm like, "Cause it's just so much fun." But the younger one, she's actually come with me a couple times,
Sick.
just to like places that are just completely like easy, non-risky, nothing like that.
Yeah,
I won't take her into anything crazy, but
of course.
she likes it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I talked to a guy on here and he travels around the country with his kids and they go to like old farmhouses and like that's his thing is like he loves farmhouses and he's brought his kids with him and I think it's cool to like bring them into the fold of like what we love, you
Yeah,
know. I think it's super
yeah.
special that you kind of do that and are kind of like exposing them to this world that you love and like your passions. I think that's super cool.
Every
Do
time
you
when I,
Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry. Every time when I come home, like on the weekends, because I usually explore on the weekends, they always like come and like listen to what I did or how I got in. It's a fun thing to do with them. They like to
Oh, that's
listen to
right.
my stories.
Awesome. That's super cool. And do you prefer to explore alone or with people?
Um, Usually I like exploring with people, but sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes the places are like really risky. It's I've been exploring a lot lately by myself more, but I like hanging out with people. I like to, experience the whole thing with them, have memories and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Especially like on road trips, it's fun to go with other people. You're driving in the car, you laugh about jokes, listen to music, stuff like that. There's always like a million memories that I have of road trips and traveling with people. So it's sometimes it's more fun to travel with people, but sometimes, it's just the place. It's easier to get into by yourself.
definitely. And then do you have any goal places like bucket list items that you're dying to explore?
Definitely, I want to explore in Italy, France,
Cool.
anywhere overseas, anywhere like that. I love to travel. I've traveled a lot around the United States, but overseas definitely is a big goal for me. I want to do those like castles and stuff like that. Those are
Yeah,
just really cool. It's just something that you don't see in the United States at all.
for sure. And if you could live in one abandoned place you've explored for an entire week, which place would it be?
Wow. I don't know where that would be. Man, there's been so many places. And for a week, maybe um I don't know about anywhere that I guess I would say Six Flags. I did Six Flags down in New Orleans.
Oh,
I
man.
don't know if I would want to stay there for the whole week because of the
Sure.
animals that are there, but
Sure.
I needed way more time than I was when I was there.
Oh,
I could
man.
have, like I told when we left, I was like, I could have spent like 2 days here at least, just out of
Dang.
everything that was there.
Yeah, that's definitely a place I need to get to, and I'm so close to it. Like, and I've had like 4 opportunities to go, and I just like haven't done it, and it drives me crazy because I know that it's not going to be there forever. They're going to level it, or they're going to
Right.
turn it into something else, or they've been trying to sell it for years. Like, who knows what's going to happen with that place? But I definitely need to go see that. It's like one of those like iconic places. You know, it's
Right.
like I don't want to compare it to Chernobyl, but it's like one of our like America's like
Right.
Chernobyl, if you will. You know.
Yeah.
It's
I went to
definitely high up
New
on.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say it's definitely high up on the bucket list for a lot of us.
Yeah. I went to New Orleans like 3 times, and the fourth time is when I finally went to Six Flags. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy. I don't know why I had such like a buildup of that place, like with security and being so nervous. And it wasn't even
Right.
really so much the security. It was like everybody's talking about the alligators and or what
Yeah.
crocodiles and all the animals and stuff. And I was like, I don't want to mess with all that stuff. So even like people that live down there, they were like telling me about it. So I was like, I don't really want to deal with that. But finally, the fourth time, I was like, I'm going here specifically for this, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. And we did. And it was
Sick.
totally worth it.
Oh, so cool. I'm definitely gonna get down there. What do
Yeah.
you hope for the future of urban exploring?
Um, I really, I really would like to see. Uh, I don't. As far as like urban explorers, I really would like to see people be a lot more nicer to each other,
Yeah.
and for like the buildings, just I don't know, just document them as much as you can because they're never going to be here anymore, and that some of the places have just like the craziest architecture. You're never going to see that anymore. All the buildings that are being built now are just so like bland,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have the just that architecture. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just the look of everything, of all this old stuff that you see in these buildings. It's never going to be here anymore. And just document and document as much as you can.
Yeah, they don't make them like they used to. That's for
No.
sure. And last question for you is, what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started exploring?
I wish I knew a few things. I really wish I knew how to research spots better. That's one thing. Um, a lot of times, like I know in the beginning, I asked a lot of people, like for a couple months, I was asking people how to get into spots and what spots, and it's more, it's I don't know how do you describe it. It's just more gratifying if you actually get to research the spots, find
Right.
out everything about it, and always, I know one tip that I always have is always check the doors on places because they're usually open. Instead of, I know there's been a million times that I have tried getting in places and I found the hardest way to get in, and then we'll walk around and the door is open. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Or there
Jesus.
is no door.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So good. So one more time for people that want to keep following your journey, tell them where they can find you online.
I'm on Instagram and TikTok under Chicago Jenn, and that's it. I don't have anything else. I don't have Twitter or anything like that, or YouTube.
All right, that was my episode with Chicago Jenn. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this episode of No Tracers, the podcast. If you did, please leave a rating and feedback, and I will send you a signed photo print of an abandoned place that I have explored. And all you got to do is leave that feedback, take a screenshot, and DM it to me at no.tracers on Instagram. I'll get your address. I'll send that out to you. If you guys want a copy of my book, you can also DM me there. I can get you a copy of the book, or you can go directly to justtheletterk.com/no tracers, and you can pick up a book, a duffel bag for your gear if you do cosplay, if you do modeling, and you need a duffel bag that's heavy duty to take into these abandoned places that's not going to just get destroyed. Check out the duffel bags. They're super cool. I actually have 2 of them that I take with me when I travel, and they're super sturdy. I love them, and I loved designing them. Hope you guys like those. Thank you again for listening. If you're a new listener, please hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you next time for another episode of No Tracers, the podcast. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out, go explore something, and remember, leave no trace.